So the next thing I had promised in the flyer to teach you all was 8 habits that will save you at least an hour a week. Would you guys like to know these?
Yes.
Okay, let's just see how we're doing on time, okay? So the first one is to use an organized entryway. And how many of you have a little space when you first walk in your apartment where you can set up like a little table with a, or in your coat closet you might have some shelves in it or something, okay? There are things that when you come in every day, you have your keys in your hand. You put down your keys, maybe you take your cell phone out and put it down. You might have, if you carry a laptop, you can put your laptop there. If you work for a company, you have a company ID, you have your Metro card, all those little things that you want to have with you again the next day. So this has worked very successful for me, for my dear husband, who is, I may be the organizing goddess, he is not the organizing god. He's a god in many other ways, but not in the organizing sense. What I discovered when I started working from home, when I founded my organizing business, is that about 3 times a week he would leave, and then 3 minutes later he would come back. I forgot my cell phone, I forgot my ID, I forgot my Metro card, I forgot my this. So as a test case, I set up a little station there with which I labeled Charles's Daily Stuff. And now every day I see him when he comes home, he empties out his pockets and puts everything there. And then the next morning he loads it all up again in the other pair of pants or the other jacket, and off he goes. And now he only comes back about once every 3 weeks. So he definitely have made progress. Yeah. And so one way that you can save a lot of time every day and save a lot of that panic of, oh my God, I gotta leave, I'm gonna be late, where are my keys? Is to always have a place where you drop stuff when you come in. You could have a place where you put loose change, all those things that, you come in at the house with receipts, bank statements that are, bank ATM receipts, charge receipts, that tend to fill up your purse, your pockets, whatever. And just dump them all at the door so that the next day you can take what you need and just keep on going. Also, if you have an outlet in that area, it's a great place to set up a charging station. So that as soon as you come in, you take your cell phone out, you plug it in, and then when you're ready to leave the next morning, you just unplug it and put it back in your pocket. So that's habit number 1. Number 2 is to process your mail every day. And when I say process, I don't mean take it out of the box and throw it on the table. I mean look at it, take the stuff that's probably about 40% of what you get that goes immediately into recycling, another 20% that goes immediately in the shredder, because no, you don't want another credit card at 0% interest. Stop asking. And then there's the rest of the mail that you actually have to open. Process means open it up, recycle all the envelopes, take out all the enclosures you don't need, flatten out the pieces of paper that you do need to keep, and look at them. Do they need to get done right away? Do them. Do they have a deadline on them? Put a sticky on them and say what the deadline is, and then put it in a to-do pile or a to-do file. And do they need to be passed on to somebody else or filed away? Take care of that. So it doesn't mean you do everything that's in your mail that you have to do. It doesn't mean pay every bill, balance every bank statement. It just means look through it, determine what its importance is, and put it in the appropriate place so that you don't end up 3 weeks later saying, oh my God, I just got a bill with a late fee, where did that other thing go? And it's in a pile of unopened mail. Okay, so any questions about processing mail every day? Just taking that 5 minutes every day to open the mail, recycle the rest, flatten out all the papers will make a huge difference. Number 3 is to use a vertical file sorter to keep your desk clear. And I brought a picture of a vertical file sorter. For those of you that have never seen one, I'll show it to the camera. Does anybody have one like that on their desk besides me? Great. And what's nice about that is when paper's in a pile, it tends to be about this high and make you very nervous because you can't see what's on the bottom. If you stand it up, you can flip through the papers and see what's in there. So if you set up a bunch of files, I mentioned bills to pay, things that are to do, that you put a sticky on them with the date, and then you file them away in these files, then you know what are the action items that have to be done with your papers, and you're not going to sit there and make you in a panic. Yes?
I did have a question, and I guess it would be relative to 2 and 3. When you process your mail every day and you're saying laid out flat,
Right.
Say that again? I get a lot of mail at home.
Right.
But I know what to do at work, but my personal stuff, I really don't open up. I just leave it in there. So now once you open everything up, you're spending time. How do you keep it clear in mind? Because once you know that it's
and that's why I'm saying you don't actually have to take all the actions required by your mail. The processing just gets everything out of the envelopes, gets rid of all the envelopes can be recycled. Half the paper you get, there's 3 pieces of paper in there that you can immediately recycle. So it really boils your mail down to 1 or 2 actionable pages that are in that envelope. And then you can put it in the appropriate file here. It's a to-do file, maybe a to-pay file. I personally have a file that's all those things, there's an explanation of benefits I get from my medical insurance company, because I'm not sitting and reviewing those until I've had a good stiff drink. Because they're so aggravating. So I put them all in a file called medical, and then when I have the patience of Job, I will sit down and deal with it and get on the phone and hammer out whatever things need to be done. But it's just a question of not letting the envelopes pile up where things can get lost, where there's a lot of stuff that can be recycled that's sitting there creating clutter, and preventing surprises. So you know what's in the mail, you know what needs action, you can take care of things that need emergency action. You know, you don't want to get the letter in the mail that says, this is your second notice, you're being called to jury duty. And you say, second notice? I don't even remember getting the first notice. And then you clean off your desk 3 weeks later and there's the first notice. You know, you want to keep on top of these things, okay? So does that help? I'll give you an example of a client I had who was an attorney. I'd make up a first name for him, but I can't remember his first name. So I can't even make up a name. He had a company that he used to send filings to. They were a service that did certain filings that he had to do for the kind of law he practiced. And he used to get letters from them, and he thought they were just copies of what they had filed for him. So when I went to work with him in his office, which was all covered in paper, and I came across these unopened letters, he goes, oh, I know what that is. You can leave that there. You don't have to open it. Well, you can imagine this did not sit well with me. So at some point, when he was going through another huge pile, I took a letter opener, like, opened them all up, recycled the envelopes, opened it up, flattened it out, and I said, holy cow, these are bills. You owe them money. You owe them thousands of dollars for these filings. He said, really? I thought my account was up to date. I said, why would you think such a thing? You don't open your mail. So he immediately got on the phone with them and dealt with the situation and paid it. It was okay. But for months, he thought, oh, these are just copies of the filings. I'm not even going to open them. So you may think you know what's inside of those things, but you never really do. So just get all the surprises out in the open, recycle as much as you can, okay? Number 4 is use a to-do list. Who has a to-do list? Who has more than one to-do list? Okay, the signals come out. You notice the use of the singular, up. Use a to-do list. How many of you are there? Is there more than one you? Do you have more than 24 hours in the day? I do. You do? Okay. Superwoman. She's cloned herself. That goes with the digital, take you digitally out of my life. You can also reproduce yourself. If you have, I know if you have several careers and maybe you even have a personal life, there's still only one you. And if you have a to-do list, it's all still you, and everything has to be measured against everything else that you do. We're always going to do personal things during working hours because making doctor's appointments or calling your child to school, those things all have to be done during daytime hours. We're also occasionally, especially now with Blackberries and laptops and voicemail and all that other stuff that wasn't around when I was growing up, you also will end up doing work things at home and on weekends. So don't think, I have a work list, I have a home list, I have a this career list, a this career list. Consider yourself as one person that has your time that has to be divvied up. So keep one to-do list, one and only one to-do list that has everything on it. And the next step I'll go into will tell you what to do with that to-do list. But if you don't have a to-do list now, you're suffering from mental clutter, which is what I call all that stuff that's floating around your head that you've been thinking on the way here, like, why am I going to this workshop? I have so much to do. Am I right? I can't take time for this workshop. Get all those things floating around your head down on a to-do list. You'd be amazed how much calmer you feel when they're not floating around your head or making you crazy when you're lying there awake and you can't fall asleep and all you're doing is thinking about the things that you have to do. Get those things down on paper.